I am Jessi Allender, registered dietitian and professional chef and mom home on lockdown for coronavirus, trying to do our part to stay safe, keep our community safe. We're here in Chicago. It's April 18th. I think it's a Sunday. And I haven't got my workout in today yet, so I've still got those clothes on. And I'm making some pho for my breakfast. You can go back to my previous video on how to make pho broth, but it's I had some beef oxtails, and I added those into my Instant Pot with aromatics, with star anise, cinnamon, cloves, some onion, and some ginger, and some salt. And I let that cook for 10 minutes on high pressure, 30 minutes on high pressure in the Instant Pot. You can do it on the stove, simmer it low on the stove because you don't want the water to evaporate. Whereas in the Instant Pot, it all stays in there, most of it. Anyway, so here's my broth that I saved. I strained out all the aromatics. I saved the beef. Pho is a Vietnamese soup, and my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's typically a breakfast food, and I enjoy it for that. And what we see here is the fat from the broth, in the cold has come up on top. So if you're trying to reduce the amount of fat, you can certainly skim that off. I'm going to take out some of it, but I have a little bit. I didn't have the right size container, so some of my broth is in this other container. And I have a second container with more meat. I split the meat in half. So I'm going to take some of this broth with no fat, about half of it. And then I'm going to take this broth with all of it, all of the fat. And I'm going to bring that up to a simmer, up to a boil. All right. So pho typically has rice noodle, the same noodle that's typically found in pad thai, the thin, if you will, linguine-shaped rice noodle in it, and a nice big chunk on it. And then the meat, and oftentimes there's other meats like rare beef sliced eye of round on top that's rare, that's not cooked at all, and you put it in just as the soup boils. I always get mine with tripe and brisket and tendon because I love those collagen-rich, meaty, obviously meaty because it's beef, delicious and nutritious meats. And then it's topped with sliced thin sweet onion. And then you get a plate on the side with bean sprouts, lime, jalapeno slices, and mince. Sometimes it's holy basil or regular basil or mint leaf. So here during the zombie apocalypse, I don't have those things. I ordered cilantro from Instacart and it didn't come through. In fact, they got me green onions, and I already had a bunch of green onions. So green onions is what's going to go in as my topping. I'm going to trim my green onions. These have been in my fridge for a few days, so they've got some leaves that aren't the best, but there's still a lot of onion here that's savable. So I'm going to peel off the top leaves that are just a little bit, these onions are not gone. They're just, they just need some love. So we're just going to peel that top layer off. I'm not cutting it off because I can do that with a knife. There we go. I already gave them a rinse in the sink. And then let them dry. So that I can have these for my topping. I like a lot of herbs in my soup, and I don't have any of the other things that typically go into the pho toppings plate, the salad plate that goes on the table. So it's just green onions for me. I do have this old lime. It smells so good. It's browned on the outside. It's been in the fridge. But sometimes you make do with what you have. So I'm going to slice these thin, and I'm going to use them for two purposes. Where are we? There we are. While my broth heats up. I love having fresh green onion in a hot broth. It cooks just slightly. You get all that sweetness to come through. I'm also going to use some of them as is, and I like to use the whole onion trimmed off what's no longer happening. There. So that's that. And then I am also making a salad to go on the side since I don't have all my other things. So I'm going to take about half of these onions, both parts, to put in my salad. And I'm going to work on that for a minute. So let me put these aside in this bowl. These are going to go on top of my soup. The other things that are going to go into my soup, because I don't have cilantro, I have some dried coriander, which is definitely a different flavor, but it's still going to brighten up my soup stock a little bit. Oh, and I need to taste my soup stock for salt. So I'm going to go ahead and cook that in. And then here I have some dried mint. It's certainly not the same thing as fresh mint, but it's going to, so I'm just going to put some of that on top of the onions that I'm going to drop into the soup after I get it in the bowl. And then lastly, I didn't have any rice noodles in my pantry, but I have a great replacement. And that is these mung bean noodles. So these are the same noodles that make a bird's nest if you drop them in oil. They're called cellophane noodles or mung bean noodles. They're made out of bean starch. I was just reading the directions. It says, put them in cold water and boil them for 5 minutes. I've never had to cook them for more than 1 minute. So I'm just going to put them in as soon as my stock boils, and then they're going to be done in like 2 minutes. And I was looking for the ingredients list, and I'm not finding it. It should be right there. But maybe that's because it's bean thread and that's all that's in it. Ingredients: mung bean starch and potato starch and water. That's all that's in it. These usually come packed in little bundles, and that's going to be my one bundle for my soup. I love these. They're versatile. I love doing them in hot pot at the end. And today it's still it's a totally different noodle, but it's going to give me that same slurpy noodle. I have some other noodles the kids eat, but I don't eat wheat, so I couldn't have any of those. So that's going to go in there. I'm going to cut my lime. It's still beautiful on the inside, and that's where real beauty lies. We know that. So half is going to go in my soup, and I'll squeeze it in as I'm eating it. And the other half is going to go in my salad. So the other part of my salad is this pickle cucumber. It's not pickled, it's a pickled cucumber. And I'm going to slice that up. I've given it a good wash. It is still beautiful on the inside, though it is wrinkled on the outside. I lost its brother. Its brother got to the point of no return in my fridge. Trying to manage all the produce, trying to buy for at least a week at a time to minimize my use of the wonderful instant cart shoppers who are going out there and doing the shopping, even though I'm very mad about what I didn't get and some of the substitutions that weren't great. I still got to be grateful that somebody's going to the store for me, and so I am. And then I'll just, work harder on making sure that I say don't substitute green onions for my cilantro. So my soup is definitely boiling. In goes the noodles. Cucumbers go in the bowl with the scallions. I'm going to dress them really simply with some fish sauce. Fish sauce is a really pungent, salty, fishy. You love it or you hate it. I love it. And I always use it with sugar and lime. So there's about a tablespoon of fish sauce and about a teaspoon of sugar. Even less, and then half of my lime. Let me get a stir in here and turn my heat down. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools. It's a lemon juicer, a citrus reamer, and it just works perfectly. Helping me get all the juice in, and the juice goes in directly. If you got a really seedy citrus, you can do this over a strainer when you're adding citrus. I also usually buy lime juice, lemon juice in a bottle if I'm going to be using it a lot. There. So the fish sauce is salty enough that I don't need to add additional salt. Just my my scallions and cucumbers and fish sauce and sugar. So there's that. Little side dish for my soup. My noodles are cooked. I'm going to turn it off and I give it a stir. Nice ooey gooey noodles. I'm going to check my seasoning. Make sure there's enough salt. Needs just a little bit of salt. Yay. So there we go. Got my salad, got my soup in my bowl, 1, 2, 3. With my beautiful, if you hadn't seen the oxtails, here's an oxtail. Beautiful. Lots of good, delicious, high quality, collagen-rich protein right in there. And then I put my greens right on top. Delicious. I put my salad in the greens bowl to serve alongside. And I'm ready for breakfast. I love a good brothy soup for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It takes a long time to eat. I can breathe in between bites because it's hot. Helps me slow down, take a breath, and enjoy. Thanks so much for checking in. Hit subscribe below so you can find out when the next part of this session comes on up. Take care.
You didn't give me my milky for dinner.
I didn't give you your milky for dinner. I'll get right on that, bud. You got it.